Good afternoon and welcome to Matchday Live here on LUTV. Leeds United back at Elland Road after a point on the road at Turf Moor. Now looking to back that up with a match against Cardiff City. The Bluebirds looking to move themselves up from the wrong end of the table. This game is available outside the UK and Ireland. You can get your Matchday pass right now from the LUTV website. So we are less than half an hour away from kickoff. 3 o'clock here in Beeston, and joining me on the sofas today, Stuart Dallas and Michael Bridges. Good to have you here. Also good to be back at Elland Road. We always love the home games, don't we, in particular? And Bridgie, after that point on the road, it's hopefully to back it up today.
I'd almost forgot about that game on the road. It was a great point, but a game to forget, Rich, because obviously we were watching it along with Simon Grace, and it was a tough watch, but there was a lot of things that have come out of that. It was a very, very good point away. We're back at Elland Road. This is our fortress, and even better, Stuart Dallas is in the house as well.
Yeah, Stuart Dallas, he knows exactly what it is to grace this Elland Road turf. And just looking out there now, the pitch is in great nick, the stadium's filling. This is the moment the players come out for their warm-up, I guess, where it gets exciting for them as well. Of course, it's business, but they can, you start looking around and seeing all the fans there.
Definitely, yeah, and just getting a feel for the atmosphere, obviously. And, I was always one who didn't really take too much in during a warm-up, to be honest, but it's great to be back here, obviously, as Bridgie said, it's a fortress, and a big game expected today.
What are you doing then in your warm-up? Just sort of getting in your own sort of zone, or blocking everything out?
I was very chilled out, to be honest, in the warm-up. Just, if I was, depending on what position I was playing, if I was playing left back, I was getting the left foot going. It takes a while for it to get going. So, I was just in my own zone, really, and
did you come to life once that whistle went?
Yeah, well, I think sort of whenever you sort of go into the possession game in the warm-up is where you're getting the feel for things, you're trying to get sharp and stuff, and then obviously after that it's a bit of shooting and then in.
Oh, this place is going to be full today, of course, as it was when these guys were gracing the field as well. You can see the fans getting ready and the players coming in here earlier on today. It's just great, isn't it? The atmosphere around the place at the moment, that draw at Burnley extends the unbeaten run even further, and it's quite a lengthy one now, Bridgie.
Yeah, it is. Like you say, to keep that momentum going, it's a point on the road. People can see it as 2 points lost, but it wasn't. You're coming up against a very, very good team as well, that are promotion pushing rivals as well, and we continue that trend away. I think, the games can't come fast enough when we're at Elland Road, and I think our away form this season has definitely improved. We haven't been conceding early goals as much as we were early on the season, and Daniel Farke has just got a belief in this squad that is, relentless. We are going into games fearless. However, this game today, this is a team we're coming up against that have had an incredible turn in form in the last 8 matches where they're unbeaten. So I've heard a lot of people around the ground when I've been walking beforehand saying, 3 points easy to have. Gone, oh, just relax, because this team is a completely different team at this moment in time than what we played early on.
Yeah, certainly when you look at their form, it is form that has vastly improved, isn't it? From a position where they were really looking in a dangerous spot, they're just starting to build that momentum. What is it? Unbeaten in 8 now.
Yeah, there were 16 points in the last 8 games, 4 wins, 4 draws. They've gone from bottom of the table to obviously they're still in a relegation battle, but they've blown the rest of the teams away, and they're coming here in very, very good form. However, away from home, not so good, Rich. I think only 1 win away.
In recent years, I mean, you can't deny it. When you hear the word Cardiff, it doesn't always bring lots of joy to Leeds United fans. And Stuart, you've been involved in some of those games that haven't necessarily.
We were 3-0 up in one of the games, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Sorry, we'll glide over that. But when you look at the head-to-heads, it's quite unusual, actually. Normally, whenever you're looking ahead of a game, you look at the head-to-heads between the teams. Cardiff are one of the few ones where you look at the head-to-head where they've actually had the better of us in recent years. Is that something that plays on players' minds at all, or?
No, not for me. It didn't. Maybe some players it does, but I'm sure you will see, Bridgie.
It
doesn't. It did you?
Yeah, it did me. Yeah, I'd always look into that.
Yeah, it didn't really bother me, but certainly over the years, Cardiff have been a bit of a bogey team for Leeds, and obviously we're on a good run at the minute. Cardiff are on a good run, so they'll come here full of confidence. But this is a championship, and anybody on their day can beat anybody. So it's important that they're switched on from the start. Yeah,
taking a look at the team news today for Leeds United. 2 changes from that team that got the point at Turf Moor. Joe Rothwell comes back into the midfield. Ilya Gruev on the bench. And also in that left-back position, Junior Firpo replaces Sam Barham. So those are the 2 changes. Does that spark a suggestion that this is a game that Leeds are going to go for from the off? Those are quite a sort of offensive-minded changes.
Well, as much as I admire Gruev for his work rate, his passing ability, his distribution in the possession when we build up, he's a tremendous attribute of this team. I think Rothwell gives us a lot more going forward. I love his switching of play when he gets on the ball. He's always looking. I mean, he's an attacker's dream, because when you make the runs, he will find you. And again, set plays, I think he is key. It's been a long while since we have had somebody that can distribute the ball from corners, from set plays like he can. So I think that's a really good position. Then Firpo, I mean, I'm a big fan of Sam Byron because he's always Mr. Reliable, but I just think the balance and the form that Junior's been in this season, the allowance and the freedom that Daniel Farke's given, he's got goals in him, he's got assists in this season, and that is due to the system. So I think that's a very positive in an attacking sense.
I think with Rothwell as well, is he it's a bit of a mouthful, that, isn't it? But
at some point, one of their midfielders has got to break their defensive line, or a defender coming out, which creates space for other people. So I call it like the knock-on effect from somebody that actually does that. And I like to see centre-halves driving out the ball as well, if they've got that opportunity to do so, because it has this knock-on.
Okay, well, you're talking about players weighing in with goals and assists, also players that like to drive at defenders. One of those been doing a cracking job of that from the right-back position is Jaden Bogle. We've caught up with him ahead of this match.
Well, Jaden, back at Elland Road today. Is this another important game for everybody?
Yeah, I think every game from now on is important and a big opportunity for us to go and get 3 points.
What did you take away from the game on Monday night, the 0-0 draw at Burnley?
Yeah, it was a tough game. They're a good side, defend very well. We probably could have been a little bit better in the final third to create a bit more, but overall it was a tough game. But another one today, so we're ready to go again.
The home form has been very good. Can you keep that going today? Because Cardiff are probably not the same side that you played against earlier in the season, are they?
Yeah, no, a bit different. They'll try and make it really difficult for us. So I think it's on us today to work hard to break them down and to create chances.
Do the crowd play their part as well on days like today?
Yeah, of course, they always play their part when we're at home. When it gets tough, to get us through tough times, and we'll need them again today.
Yeah, well, the crowd here at Elland Road will certainly be with the players. They always are. Just looking at that game from earlier in the week, which, you know, admittedly isn't going to be one that anyone necessarily remembers for a long time. I've got written down here on my sheet, Burnley highlights. I think you've probably take the S off the end, can't you? There was the Dan James shot. But let's just talk about that. Daniel Farke in the programme notes today describing it as a really good point on the road. And if that turns into a point that, when we look back at the end of the season, you know, and the job's been done, it will be, won't it, Stu?
yeah, it's obviously before the game you look at it and you go, if we go here and get a point, it's a big result. But I just felt we could have been a lot braver in you know, in the attacking third. Really, I thought at times we were a bit safe. I think you could look back after the game and think there's an opportunity missed to go and win it. I think we could have went longer, quicker, because
it was
Burnley,
one pace, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's just Burnley have got obviously the best defence in the league, so they want everything in front of them. And I just felt that at times, you know, there was chances to play a ball in behind, to have a quick switch of play, a diagonal pass, and
everything was in front.
We turned it down. And as a defender, when you know you want everything in front of you, the last thing you want is to be running facing your own goal. And I just felt at times we turned that down. But it's a good point. It'll be an even better point, obviously, if we build on it today.
I just felt from that game, like you were saying, the lack of endeavour going up front with some of the players taking the onus on themselves to go and do it. But I haven't seen Burnley that many times this season. But when you look at their clean sheet record, and we were watching this game intensely, I understood why, because they get so many players back behind the ball, and the only real threat from them was in the counter-attack and the transition moments. And when you think this was the only shot on target from Leeds United in that game, that we only tested the goalkeeper, and it was Dan James that had the strike. I mean, it's a lovely technique, but I think that summed up that match, that one chance, how bored we were watching it. But I still credit Burnley for the job that they did, because they were coming up against the best attacking team in the Championship in Leeds United, and we only had one shot on target. So that shows defensively they're fantastic. Going forward, they'll win games, but I'd rather watch us every week than be watching them.
Yeah, and in terms of it being a good point on the road, albeit not the most spectacular game, given the context of Sheffield United losing in that match week, of Sunderland dropping points as well, and those two teams we will play in the next few weeks, making sure that Burnley didn't close any sort of gap there really does provide an opportunity.
It does, and obviously we maintained it, the gap, and obviously gained on, who was it got beat? Sheffield United got beat, so we gained a point on them. But yeah, I look back and think, I'll have to be honest, I look back and think it was a chance missed to extend that gap. But as I say, if we can get 3 points here today, it'll be a good point.
February is a massive month when you think it's Sheffield United, you've got the Sunderland, you're playing teams in and around, you've got to win them, and we could be sitting so happy come the 1st of March. after their matches.
That's how we are. Well, we're pretty happy on the 1st of Feb. For now, anyway, we'll see how it goes. Okay, let's cross to our commentary team. We'll bring you all the action, of course. 3 o'clock kickoff here at Elland Road. Let's get the thoughts of Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo.
Well, we're back at Elland Road and we're back in the tunnel and we're back ready to talk about a Leeds United starting 11, which shows a couple of changes, Tony.
It does. Gruev and Byram, they drop out, and Rothwell and Firpo are back in, which says to me that they're quite attacking changes. You know, both of those players offensively, that's where their strength lies. And so we're looking to take the game to Cardiff today.
I think we're anticipating a slightly different game to Monday night, are we not?
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. It was a grim watch for everyone. However, I suppose the disappointment afterwards from our players shows how far we've come, and I suppose how respected we are as a team. However, you want to start winning games, and those sort was just frustrating to play in. So today, yeah, I'm sure they'll be itching to get out there to win.
Now, earlier in the season, when we went down to Cardiff, I don't think we saw a very good side in Cardiff City that day, did we? But I think we see probably a much improved side. Well, the results suggest that this afternoon.
You're right. I remember going down there. We won 2-0 against 10 men, and I thought we were actually poor. That's how bad they were. Their manager got the sack as well. Everything since then, though, has changed around a lot. 8 games unbeaten is impressive. They're not conceding many goals either. We know the rivalry between the two clubs. So them coming here, they're going to be determined to really give us a good game.
So then it'll all be the focus on how they approach the game, won't it?
It will. Whether they really use the, I suppose, time and opportunities sparingly, they'll sit back, sit deep. But we've played against that. We know how that works out. First goal is always important. If we get it, I can see us then going on. But just patience. We're plenty good enough to win the game, but I think there'll be a sterner test than they were at their place.
We shall see. Hopefully the outcome is the same.
Bryn and Tony, who were actually, you could see, physically shivering at the end of the Burnley match at Turf Moor.
Very happy and comfortable there, though.
It's fine in the tunnel. They've got a portable heater. It's all good. I do want to mention, because when we saw those Burnley highlights, Dan James was the one really who looked dangerous. It didn't quite happen for him. Had that shot towards the end, but this front four now seems to be a settled one from Daniel Farkas-Dewey. You've got Mano Solomon, you've got Dan James, Brendan Aronson and Joel Peru up front, and we've seen how quickly they've started the games here in the last 2 games, Norwich and Sheffield Wednesday, early goals as well. He's obviously got a lot of trust in those players at the moment.
He does, yeah, and I think it took him a while to figure that out, because earlier on the season he was obviously chopping and changing a lot, and to be fair, the boys that were coming on were producing numbers as well, but he seems to have settled on this front four, and they're repaying him, so he obviously can't drop them. They have a lot of quality, and you know, if needed, the players coming off the bench bring extra quality as well. So he seems to be really happy with these, and it's working so far.
I think you talk about the attack and fall, so you've got to do your defensive duties as well. And I think Aronson is a key player because of the energy levels that he has. He's happy to close down. He's a pest. So no doubt about it, when he gets the ball and he goes forward, he's dynamic. But also you've got to follow what Daniel Farker wants defensively. And sometimes when you're trying to sit on and take a number 6 or a pivot, as they call it, out the game, or a defensive midfielder, he does that job fantastically well when he just totally disrupts the opposition when they're in possession.
We talk about Dan James and Mano Solomon in those wide positions at the moment. If we go back to, when was it, September, when we played Cardiff down at their place, it was the other 2 wingers who were having the impact in Willie Nonto and Ramazani as well. Of course, aided by an early red card decision, which, you know, sometimes isn't helped, but actually in this case it did.
It's been a while since I've seen the sunlight.
Yeah, exactly. What's that? And the celebration, of course, that we saw a few weeks ago here at Elland Road. But it just goes to show, when we were talking about the wingers, there have been periods of this season where they've all had to step up to the plate, and at the moment it might be Mano and Dan in those starting places, but the other 2 wingers have certainly been making their impacts.
For sure, yeah, they're more than capable of, you know, if you took Mano or Dan out and started Willie and Largy today, you probably wouldn't say anything because of the quality that they do bring. I think Joe Rothwell, he done an interview during the week about obviously the competition, and he said it's great, and we know from playing Bridgie as well, it's great to have that competition till,
as long as it's healthy.
As long as it's healthy, yeah, of course, but it drives you on, because you don't want to lose a shirt, because you know that if you're not putting in the performances, somebody is waiting to come in and do it. But we're so blessed to have the quality that we do have here.
I think it's a joy just what Stewie's saying there. It's almost like for like, you wouldn't be upset if you saw these 2 back in the starting lineup because of 2 players. And what is so special about the Championship, there's that many games, You need a squad that are able to compete and manage them games, and the players cannot keep that level for the whole season, and sometimes you do need a kind of a reality check or to be dropped in somebody else to get an opportunity to come in that is hungry to prove themselves, and we've had that in abundance this season. I love the quality throughout the squad, but also the competition for players. As Stewie said, it's a nice culture at this football club. There's no egos that are saying I am the one, and I think it goes back to what the mantra of this football club is.
And sorry, Rich, it's better to have the quality there as well, because how many times have we sat here throughout the years and been talking about the January transfer window needing strength. We've got it there, and that's vital to
Could always do one more, though, Stu.
We could always do it one more, but it's vital to have everybody fit and available. Yeah. Nearly everybody fit and available at this stage of the season. Okay,
let's hear from the Leeds United captain. I've been talking to LUTV about the Leeds' recent form and, of course, the threats that today's visitors might pose. Here's the thoughts pre-match of Ethan Ampadu.
December and January without defeat, it's normally the toughest time in the Football League to play in this country. What does that say about your mentality as a group to do what you've just done?
Well, hopefully a lot. I've said throughout this, from the very start of this season, that there's a group here that's got unbelievable character, unbelievable strength in the mindset, and for us it's just about going out and showing everyone that's who we are. We players who were here last year, we tried to learn from maybe a not so great Christmas period last year and how that might have affected our season, so we knew we wanted to change that going into this year. That was done, but that's just that part done now. We know we've still got a long way to go this season.
You've been at the heart of defence now alongside Joe for a couple of games where you've really seemed to get that partnership back. How much does it help last season's experience and your bond off the pitch as well to form that partnership?
Not a lot. We get on great. Well, more than great, to be honest, but I don't want to sound too cheesy. But no, we get on well. It helps that we obviously played for Wales together for a lot of years. And as you mentioned there, the partnership we had last year, it was good. We're still annoyed at ourselves. We could have been a bit better last year, but that's for maybe this year and however many chances we get to play together this year to improve on that.
As the captain as well, do you look at the squad a little bit different? Pascal getting injured, injuries in midfield, there's a lot of changes here and there, but the team seems to be coming through it. As a leader of the group, how does that make you feel?
I've got unbelievable confidence in this team, but we all have. So yeah, I said I get to wear the armband, and I can maybe look at it a little bit differently, but I still have to do my job, still have to help the team in every way that I can. But I know that players who are injured, they're fighting to come back fit. Players who are fit, they're fighting to play games, and players who are playing the games are fighting to work on and improve our performances.
Saturday gives us a chance to return to Elland Road, which you guys have excelled nearly every single week there. It's a bit different, I guess, though, playing Cardiff this time. They've had a change in manager. Their form's looking a lot brighter. Have you had much time to analyse what you expect from them as a team? No,
like you said, they're going to come into this game full of confidence. They're going to be wanting to win, wanting to get something out of this game. But like I said about Burnley earlier, we go into every game with the confidence that we can go win. We know what we're going to try and expect from them. We know they can make it a difficult game, but we know that if we're on it, if we're on our levels, then we can make it a difficult game for them.
There you go, Ethan Ampadu. Of course, big Welsh connection here with these teams today. And Ethan Ampadu, Bridgie, we always talk about leaders in teams, and you just see it from him out there, don't you? He goes about his business in a very kind of calm way, but you can see that he's leading the troops, isn't he?
Yeah, he leads by example. True professional. Gets a couple of injuries this year. I went out to the training ground. I saw him working so hard to get back. He was asking questions. I didn't tell him about my injury career past, otherwise I would have been there for like 3 days trying to explain them. But he was just lovely. He was interested, and you could tell by the way the players around him were. You look up to that leadership. He's there with Dan James, another international with him in the Welsh squad, Joe Rodon. So the dynamics are fantastic. But what I like about Ethan, he leads by example on the football field. That is what he's paid to do. He's a footballer, and he's tackling, he's understanding of where to be at what moment of the game. I just think he breaks down attacks superbly, and a great captain for this football club.
Yeah, presumably when you're in a team, you look to those leaders, those players. When you're in a game that's difficult, not necessarily going your way, to get you through a difficult patch, or what do you think he's bringing to this squad and the club, really?
Yeah, he's very, very mature for his age. He brings a calmness when games are frantic. You very rarely see him just kick the ball out of play, and he's so that's why I like him in centre half as well, because he starts the attack so well. He's both footed, he's comfortable on the left and on the right, and he's able to play them passes. But more than anything, he brings a real calmness. He doesn't get too agitated, or he doesn't show any like anxiety on the pitch when things aren't going their way. And he's brilliant. Obviously, he's learned. Obviously last season under Liam Cooper as well at the club, and the captain. He's learned off him as well, and he's a perfect example for this club now.
You mentioned about him playing in kind of multiple positions. I mean, everyone knew that Stuart Ellis, wherever you put him, is going to give a good performance pretty much anywhere on the field. But for other players to know that it doesn't matter which position he's in, he will still bring that level of quality. It's not like moving, the square pegs in round holes and all that kind of stuff. With Ethan, whichever position it's going to be, you're going to get the same level. Yeah,
you know exactly what you're going to get, and this is why the manager, wasted no time in bringing him straight back in. I think he was on the bench for a couple of games just after the injury because he realises what he brings to the group, both on and off the pitch. You know what you're going to get from him, and I can't speak highly enough of him. I think he's a fantastic footballer, and he's exactly what we need.
In terms of today's opponents, because we should spend a couple of minutes just talking about them. No mugs at the moment, like we say, 8 unbeaten coming into this in the league. We saw Joel Peru, who scored down there. He's on 10 goals. Well, they've got a player on 11 at the moment in Callum Robinson. Talk us through the kind of threats we might be looking at today, Bridgie, because like I say, forget where the table is looking at the moment. You've got to look at recent form, really, don't you? And as it stands, theirs is matching some of the best in the league.
Well, Alex Robertson's a player that we both admire. He normally plays on the left. You're probably going to see him tuck in as the 10 here, but like you say, Robinson, the goal scorer, 11 goals this season. You've got to watch him. He's a threat in behind anything inside the 6-yard box, penalty area. He'll find a way. The thing that they'll look to do, I've been looking at the possession stats, they're nowhere near. We're ranked first, Cardiff are 17th. So what it is, they're a percentage team. They want to get the ball in the final third as quickly as they can, forget the patient build-up, and then they've got players that can hurt you in the right areas of the field. And they're the two, for me, that stand out, and the ones that we've got to watch.
Experience as well. They have a lot of experience at this level when you look at it. Chambers, Joe Rawls as well, O'Dowda, El Ghazi playing as well. So they have players with both with quality and experience.
Yeah, and we talked about the run of games coming up now. Yeah. This one here today, Cardiff certainly a little bit more of a resurgence in form. Coventry away, they're 4 wins on the bounce. Yeah. And then we go to the cup game.
Plymouth have just won as well, by the way.
Yes.
They've just got a result against West Brom. The players and the staff will know.
It just shows you, what
fighting for their lives.
And then, of course, the two, I don't want to call them the big ones because it's not the right way to look at it, but you know what I mean in terms of the teams that are at the top of the table, Sheffield United and Sunderland. So we talked about February being this big month, but it kind of starts here, doesn't it, Bridget, with getting those 3 points and continuing that record.
We beat all the teams in and around us last season, if you remember, at the top. We didn't beat the teams in and around the bottom. They were the ones that cost us when we were getting a draw at Rotherham or getting beat. You've got to make sure that in this league you are just coming up against everybody, because everybody is in something in this division. And like I say, Cardiff, they're in a relegation fight, a good turn of form, but it's all about us.
Yeah, whenever we've got Don Matteo sat here, he'll always talk about the importance of a good start to the game. And Leeds have done that in those recent games here today. Presumably Daniel Farke will be saying, let's get out there on the front foot, let's go and try and impose ourselves on the opposition, don't let them settle.
Yeah, well, I always say that, and even when I was playing, I always tried to bring that across, that an early start was massive here, because you get the crowd behind you, and as an opposition player, you want the breaks in play, you want the game disrupted, so it's important that Leeds do try and start fast, but it's also equally important that if they don't, and it takes it to the second half, that the crowd stay with them, and they usually do, but sometimes you can hear murmurs, you can hear a few echoes of discomfort within the crowd. So it's important that...
A few people saying, do you remember that game against Cardiff that Stewie Dallas played in when we were 3-0 up? Yeah. That kind of conversation in the cup.
That game become too easy, that's what happened. And we took our eye off the ball, and they had players, Tomlin at the time, who punished us. So they've got players who can do that today. But I think this team, if they're 3-0 up, they won't let it slip.
Okay, positive vibes only. I shouldn't have even mentioned it again. You mentioned it once. Guys, how's this game going to go today? Give us a score prediction. How do you see this one unfolding? And Bridgie, I am coming to you first.
I would love to say that it's going to be a goal fest. I don't think it's going to be. I'm going to say that's going to be so close. There's going to be a goal difference, either a goal deficit, whether it's a 1-0 win for Leeds or a 2-1 win for Leeds. I don't, that's the way how close I'm going to see it. But definitely 3 points for Leeds at Elland Road.
Okay, Stewie.
I'll go 3-1 Leeds.
You've had some wild predictions recently, by the way.
I got the last one right, no?
Oh, all right, take it.
I will say whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-1 Leeds, a late goal to kill it off.
All right, hopefully so. Well, you can see behind us now the players are literally about to make their way out through the tunnel. A reminder, 2 changes from the team that got that point at Turf Moor, with Joe Rothwell and Junior Firpo coming into the lineup. But here they come. Leeds United taking on Cardiff City. This is a big one. February the 1st. We're definitely in the back end of the season running. Let's head over to the gantry and your commentary team of Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo.
Welcome. Elland Road provides the venue once more as Leeds United resume the Championship campaign with a game against Cardiff City in front of another full house here, of course, and